There are definitely two pieces of information to this question, and whether you recognize the much easier piece of information is going to be important. Like, you got to know right away that we have a bunch of equations in these choices. What goes well with equations? Points. So do we have any points? Because boy, would I love to use our main math strategy, plug points into equations. And yeah, when x is 0, y is 200. So there's this other more confusing piece, right? Two variables, x and y, are related such that for each increase of 1 in the value of x, the value of y increases by a factor of 4. People who are not good at math are going to read that and it's like Chinese. It's a completely different language. But it's useful. We'll get there. But it doesn't really matter if we just recognize we have a point, because now we can just plug in 0 for x. That's like an amazing point to plug in and just see what we get, right? So if I did that here, well, 0 to the 200 is 0. So 0 times 4, this whole thing is 0, but we need it to be 200, right? So that doesn't work. This would be 4 times 200 to the 0. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. So that's 4 times 1, which is 4. Again, not 200. Here we have 200 times 0 to the 4th. Again, 0 to any power is 0. So this is just another 0, right? 0 times 200. But here, 200 times 4 to the 0. 0 to 4 to the 0 is 1. And then 200 times 1 is 200. So that whole thing about increasing by a factor of 4 doesn't matter at all. But now we can see what it means, right? It means that when we increase the value of x by 1, so if we were to go to x equals 1, for example, we would now be multiplying 200 by 4 to build it up and I guess get to 800, right? So that's what it means to increase by a factor of 4. That is a multiplication instruction. And so the same thing would happen if we went from x being 1 to x equals 2, right? So if x is 2, we've increased x by 1, and now we would be multiplying by 4 twice, basically, right? Once for the x is 1 and once for the x of 2, but in between the 1 and the 2, we've just multiplied another 4, just one more 4. So another 4 factored kind of gets in there. So, it's good to be comfortable with that language. There could easily be a version of this question where they leave out the point and they force us to kind of just think about the factor thing. But if you get a point in an equation, plug it in. It's kind of just like a simple way to look at every single SAT math question. If I have points in equations, that's what I'm doing. If I only have equations, I'm looking for points. If I only have points, I'm probably pulling an equation out of my memory. It's a very simple way to go through every question. And it really does work. There's lots of things that are not going to be plug points into equations questions, but then we'll figure it out, right? If you get an opportunity, you want to take advantage of it.